I think one of my favorite things is how the tigripictilis all beg at the front. Look at them. Look at them. They're begging. They're so cute. Hello and welcome back to Creative Pet Keeping. Right now we are looking at the Lamprologus tigripictilis tank, which is a 20-gallon tall. This is how you spell the name, by the way. And this tank needs some love. Visually, it's kind of an eyesore. It's not very pretty to look at, and I really wanted to do a species spotlight on these guys. And before I do that, I wanted the tank to look a bit nicer. So today's water change day. I've been doing water changes, already did water changes on the ocellatus tank. I actually swapped out the breeding container that some of the larger ocellatus that were growing out were in. And I have this temporary one that's clamped on here, and then this one I gotta clean up because of all the algae. There's another breeding container here with some babies, and I will be making a in-depth video on Lamprologus ocellatus gold in case you are interested. I love these guys. They're insane. They're crazy. They're the meanest fish I've ever encountered, ever, and they're tiny. Right now I'm going to probably remove all the rocks in here so I can scrub them, just to give them a little light scrub. I'm going to gravel vac all of the mulm that's right here. That's actually not, most of it's not fish poop. It's actually from the wood because I do have a bristlenose pleco in here that's been munching on the wood, so that just looks ugly, but it's not really a problem. And then I'll clean out the sponge too, because that definitely needs to be cleaned out. As you can see, if you get a closer look, do you see all the stuff on the sponge? That's usually like a visual indicator that the sponge is kind of almost full and you want to squeeze it out so that the water can pass through. So I'm going to do all these things, and what I'll do is I'll sort of like incrementally film and talk a little bit here and there so it can be a part of the process, and then we can see how we can turn this ugly breeding setup into something a lot more visually appealing. So right now I made a big mess, but you can see the tigripictilis, they're all stressed so a little bit, so they all kind of colored down. The males that were dark earlier are no longer dark. You can see the bristlenose pleco female, and then here's all the stuff I took out, so I'm going to wash all of those things. So right now I am gravel vacuuming all of this mulm that's over here, which, you know, this stuff is not really bad for fish, but too much of anything is not good, first of all. That's why it's nice to remove it. And also it's kind of an eyesore. It's not pretty to look at, so we are removing all of this. I put the filter back in over there, kind of startled them, so now they're in the front while I'm filling the water back up, and they're like, why? What is going on? Also, the water conditioner that I'm using is called Fritz Guard. Fritz is our sponsor this year, one of the 2 sponsors that we have for Creative Pet Keeping, helping fund this channel so I can make more awesome videos. So that's why it's kind of hanging out right here. Just want to let you guys know. Also, as this tank is filling up, I've made a mess. It's time to clean the front glass panel as this fills up, and then I gotta kind of scrub these gently, and then we're gonna put the decorations back in. So I put the rocks back in here, and this is how I arranged them. I wanted to create multiple caves, and I wanted to encourage them to kind of come to the front, which is already working. So as you can see, they have a lot of different crevices so they can hide in the front. There's a cave in the back. There's an extra cave right here. This one's already digging and kind of working on his cave. There's an extra little hiding place here. So I tried to space it out so that they can interact with their environment a little more. Before, I used to have them they used to hang out in the back and I could never see them. So I moved everything forward just a little bit so I could be more comfortable to come out. I threw some food in here just so you can kind of see them a bit more. So you can kind of come out and eat. They eat a variety of things. I just gave them some cichlid pellets right now. But they're becoming more and more comfortable. They're starting to come out a lot more. And what I really like about these guys is their personalities are very interesting. And then the males develop these humps on their foreheads. You can see there's one male right here. He has an extra pretty fin. And he'll darken up, and it kind of reminds me of the old school Greek art where they used to depict dolphins with kind of more straighter bodies and humps on their faces, sort of. I feel like these guys kind of, in a weird way, look like them. This is kind of like a random tangent, but the food kind of got them a little excited, so you get to see them a bit more. Ideally, you know, once this water kind of clears up, I'll be able to see them a lot better. I might do a tiny, like 5% gravel vac tonight, like once all the stuff over here settles. I might gravel vacuum it again just one more time for the sake of kind of clearing this up just a tiny bit more. But I'm pretty happy with how it looks at the moment, and these guys seem to be enjoying it. The male, as you can see, is actually darkening up right now. He's being kind of mean and bossy, but yeah, see, he's changing colors already. So if you look at the beginning of the video, everybody was really pale. He will start getting darker and darker, and he will darken up and show off his stripes. At the moment, from what I'm aware, is I do have 2 males for sure. I don't know about the rest. I don't know how the color of the gravel is also affecting their coloration, because there is some blue. It's very faint, and especially in the male's dorsal fin. So I'm kind of wondering, let's see if I can put this up to the glass without startling them. I'm kind of wondering if I can get that to show up. Well, do you see it? You can kind of faintly see the blue. So I'm wondering if these fish were on a darker gravel, preferably like maybe a black, if their coloration would darken up a bit more and you'd be able to see those particular colors. That being said, these guys are a lot of fun. I do want to have a disclaimer. This is a pretty big group for a 20-gallon tall. They're in here for breeding purposes. So once I get them to spawn, for me it's actually a lot easier to breed fish in slightly smaller tanks, and usually it's a very short-term setup. So this tank over here has already had a couple different species of fish that I've been rotating from my club. These guys are the, you know, newest addition at the moment. So if you are planning on keeping these guys more long-term as your actual pets, I do recommend a 40-gallon breeder. They do like to have a lot of space near the bottom. They like rocks. They exhibit kind of very similar behaviors to that of a goby somewhat, because they do like prop themselves up on their pectoral fins, and they'll dig a little bit and they'll kind of like stay on and hang out in the rocks. And then once you kind of get them comfortable, as you can see, oh, this guy's just waiting for food. He's just hoping. They do have a lot of personality. When I first got them, they were in this temporary tank right here, which I am actually housing some Juliachromis in here, babies. I still have to remove the shells and set this up, and I just took out some water. So this is the next tank I'm going to be working on that you might get to see an update on Friday. These guys are definitely full of personalities, and they're a highly underrated fish that is also at risk in the wild. So while they're not endangered, their habitat is getting affected. So they're definitely like there's concern in regards to these species. So breeding them is very important, spreading them around the hobby, which is why I decided to breed these guys, because they're super cute, and I'm hoping that you will think that too.
Hello. What's up? What's up? Yeah. He's saying hi, this one.
As I'm editing this video, I keep looking over there to kind of see what they're doing, because they're very excited now that I switched up their territory, and just because I spaced everything out, they seem to prefer that, so they're a lot more active. That one is still determined to try to get me to feed. He's like, please feed. I'm just gonna wait right here in this corner. I was looking at these guys, which is, by the way, the best and worst distraction when you try to get stuff done and you have fish to look at because they're doing interesting things. Wanted to point out how adorable the doggo is. So this is Banana. She's a female border collie. For those of you guys that are new, I've got a ton of videos on her actually. So if you want to see her do cool stuff, she even has a show where she talks. So you can find that it's called The Banana Show. But I wanted to give her some love. She heard her name. Oh, that tail's going. Okay, on that note, I will see you guys on Friday.